If you like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings, this is the channel you need. So subscribe and follow Carmentary.
Good coffee is really important. Good morning, everybody, or at least it's morning for me here. Driving out to Niseko again. Time for another quick Carmentary episode where I talk about things that are trending or interesting to me in my life. So today, I want to do a quick talk about what's trending in Japan. And unfortunately, I have no idea what's trending in Japan right now because I don't watch TV. I don't read or write Japanese, so I can't do a Google search in Japanese, or I can't read the Japanese that comes up. You know how Google tells you what's trending? So I can only speak from my own experience and tell you what's happening in life in general right now here in Japan. It's almost mid-April. It's April the 11th, so I guess that could be mid-April. And I thought I'd just speak for a moment about what life is like in Japan in mid-April, because it's a very interesting time, actually. It's a big month in Japan. April is like, it's like the month, man. The business year starts in April. The Japanese business year runs from April 1st to March 31st for most everything. Now, companies can have their fiscal year set whenever they want. Like, usually you set it from when you form the company. So I have a company. Our company was formed in July, so our fiscal year starts in July. We do our corporate taxes in that month, and you know, a lot of different things happen. But in general, it's considered that the business year starts in April. So it's big. School starts in April. So this week, two of my daughters, my eldest daughter went into junior high school. My youngest daughter started elementary school. So that's huge. Anybody with family and kids, you know, you have graduations, you have yugaku, entrance ceremonies, you have all these reasons to put on a suit and go to ceremonies, and then go out for like a celebratory lunch or dinner. There's events happening. There's all kinds of stuff. So it's like this massive month. It's also celebrated in nature in Japan. The biggest thing that happens in late March and through April is the cherry blossoms, or the Sakura Zensen. The Sakura Zensen. This is a great Japanese word. I was just thinking about it before I started recording this. Zensen is used, I don't really know the direct translation, but I think it means like a front. When we say that, they use it in weather reports. There's a new weather system, the front is moving in off, you know, on the coast, and they'll say, you know, Zensen in that sense. And they use it for the cherry blossoms, because the cherry blossoms start blooming in Kyushu or Shikoku, southern Japan, western Japan, generally around like March the 20th. And that moves up like a weather system, like a front. And it moves up as the weather warms, coming up higher and higher. And we get the cherry blossoms here in Hokkaido around early first week of May to the second week of May. So it's a long process. It's like 2 months. Starts March the 20th, comes like finishing at the very tip top of Japan, probably around May the 20th. And the cherry blossoms are super symbolic in Japan. You know, they're loved. It's a source of pride, of happiness, of celebration, and it coincides with all these events like graduations and entering schools or getting a new job in the new country, corporate year, etc. And I think it's a fantastic thing. I love it. I think it's great. I wouldn't have it any other way. You get the symbolic side, plus you get the reality of all these, new things happening. And it's spring, man. The flowers are blooming, green is coming out, the snow is melting. Obviously, depending on where you are in Japan, it's going to be different. So the people in Shikoku, where actually I'm going tomorrow, the cherry blossoms it's already done. It's kind of over now, and they're having their graduation ceremonies. For us up here in Hokkaido, you can maybe see outside the window, there's still snow like right on the sides of the roads. The mountains are covered in snow. We have yet to have our cherry blossoms, and yet all this graduation and the new corporate year starting, it's all kind of happening right now. And then we get our visual confirmation with the cherry blossoms a little later on. So geographically, it kind of depends where you are. But in general, I don't watch TV. I don't watch Japanese TV. So I don't really get that daily dose of, news and what's happening here and there around the country. I get my info mostly from, social media, YouTube, the occasional, I'll see TV. I don't have a TV in my house, so we don't watch it at home. But when you go to a restaurant, or you go out and you're waiting in a lobby somewhere, there's something playing, then you get a bit. And just, so even if it's not happening here, you see it, because it's on the news. Oh, the cherry blossoms are blooming. How wonderful. Everybody's out having a party. There's another Japanese word for you. Hanami. Hanami. I guess the literal translation, hana is flower, and mi is probably to look or to watch. Flower viewing, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hanami is the act of getting your family and friends together, going out to a park or a location where cherry blossoms are blooming, spreading a leisure sheet on the ground, bringing a cooler filled with a variety of alcoholic beverages, onigiri, sushi, whatever, like snacks, food. Everybody just sort of has a big old picnic on a sheet underneath a tree blooming with flowers. It's awesome. I've been in Japan, or coming to Japan, for like over 30 years now, and I don't know if I'm just not going to those places anymore, but it seems like it was bigger back in the day. Again, for the long time residents or people who used to be in Japan, let me know if you think that as well. Maybe it's just because I don't live in the city anymore. So in Hokkaido, the Hanami happens in early May. Early May is also when the Golden Week national holiday happens. It's like a week-long series of holidays that have sort of been scrunched together, and it makes this really long spring holiday. It's great for business, and I think that's also an important timing, because it comes right after this first month. You have your graduations, you get a new job, you move, the company year starts, it's super busy, it's lots of stuff happening, and then boom, you get like a 4 or 5 day holiday, and everybody goes, whoa. Whew. And in Hokkaido, it's right when the cherry blossoms start blooming, so it's extra nice, because you've been super busy working hard, and now you can just sort of chill, go out and have some beverages with your friends and enjoy the beauty. So it's great timing. There was something else I was going to say there, and I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the other thing, and this is another great Japanese expression. It's a Japanese English expression. It's something you hear a lot during the month of April. It's called freshers, as in fresha ippai ne. Freshers is the new crop of company employees. It's kids who have graduated from college, university, high school, and they've gotten a job. And right away in April, everybody shows up for their job, and you have like orientations going on, seminars, meetings, you know, learning your job, you know, learning your new work. And in larger companies, it's going to be quite a number of people. There could be 100 or I don't know how many. And you'll see these kids, like if you walk around town, in general for like the larger corporates, you'll have like what's also called OL, like office ladies, and salary men, the corporate workers. So, you know, it's a lot of young kids walking around in their kind of new suits that don't fit so well. And they're usually in groups, and at lunchtime they'll all come out for lunch, and they're really obvious because, you know, they're young, they look kind of innocent, and they're a little out of place. They're not, and they don't have that really, what is the English word? They're not burnt out yet, you know? They're fresh. And that's why I think it's like, it's such an amazing word that has been adopted from English. Took fresh and they added the ER and the S. Pluralized it. Freshers. So it's a word for that group of people. And they're also an important part of the month of April because you see them a lot. And then into May and June, you still get a little bit of that feeling of the freshers. And then suddenly, in about a month and a half, 2 months, they probably change their suits, or they start looking more the part, or maybe they start getting a little tired, or they grow up, or whatever, and you don't really get the feeling of the freshers anymore. And then it's just individuals and people working for companies and doing their jobs. So that's another interesting added element that you have in April. You got these new school kids, the new elementary school kids. You always know them because they're not just the smallest, but in Japan they all wear the special backpack called the randosel, which is a leather-made, kind of thick backpack. There's a lot of safety ideas built into that backpack, by the way. If a kid got hit or fell down or something, it acts as a cushion, etc. Anyway, they cover it with a yellow plastic sheet that is like kind of bright, so cars, I think it's a little reflective too, so lights will, you know, hit it and they'll be like, oh, there's a little kid. You know, they want these little kids to be super visible because kids in Japan walk to school in general, unless you're so far away that you have to drive, or there's might be situations where it's a bus. But in general, elementary kids will walk to the nearest school. So you see the little kids, you see the freshers, you see the flowers, and you're just overcome with this sense of, wow, a new year has started. It's spring. And this year is extra special. I talked about this on a prior episode. The new era, Reiwa, will be starting on May the 1st. Or is it April the 31st? I don't know. The last day of the Heisei era, which we're living in now, is April the 30th. And so this year, because the present emperor is resigning and the new emperor is taking over, we're getting like a couple extra holidays for Golden Week. It's going to be, for those who work for a large corporation that gives you holidays like that, a 10-day holiday. This has not happened in who knows how long in Japan. So it's going to be this massive long holiday. Apparently the post office is only open for 2 days, and I think banks are going to only be open for like 2 days during that holiday. So it's going to be a big travel time for a lot of Japanese people. If you live in a tourist area that receives a lot of Japanese tourists, be prepared, because they're coming, or going to be hopefully coming. So it's good. A lot of people are going to get out and get moving around, but it's going to be tough for companies and the service industry. Little things like preparing coins use as change for, you know, bills when people buy things. It's the kind of thing you don't think about. Banks are closed for 8 out of 10 days. Companies, you know, every day you're like going to the bank and you're taking all these bills in, and then you get coins and you take them back and you use that the next day. Imagine that, some big hotel, over 10 days you can't get change. Woo! Yeah, all right, lots happening. Just thought I'd talk about that a little bit. Hope you found that interesting. Maybe learned a couple interesting words. Freshers, Hanami. I think I said one more in there and I can't remember it now. Anyway, I'm almost at my destination. Hope you guys are having a good day and enjoyed that. Please leave some comments. I read all the comments, try to reply to all of them. Really interesting stuff, especially for these English episodes. I guess maybe some former expats or people who still, you know, foreigners who still live in Japan watch these and listen in. So I always appreciate the comments that come in, and they give me ideas for future episodes. So please keep them coming. All right, it's going to be another good day on the slopes. Remember, drive safe.
If you like to drive around and talk about the latest happenings, this is the channel you need. So subscribe and follow Carmentary.
Good coffee.